In today's video, we're not exactly reviewing this Tamiya kit. Think of it more as a rambling about plastic models while occasionally pretending I know what I'm talking about. And if that wasn't enough excitement, stick around because later you'll actually get to watch me build this thing. Yes, riveting, entertainment, glue, plastic, and probably a few bad decisions. And yes, I caught a cold from the little hawks. I grabbed this kit mostly because it was cheap. And hey, it came with a metal gun barrel and a sprinkle of photo-etch, which makes me feel fancy. But that's where the upgrades end. The rest of it? Flash everywhere. Mold seams like the Grand Canyon. And parts that line up about as well as my weekend plans and my bank account. My last build, oh yes, I'm bringing it up again so I can say it one more time, the Carro Armato. That one was a hybrid too, although in that case, it felt like Tamiya just dropped a couple of new sprues in the box and called it a day. Basically, same old kit that's been around since dinosaurs were still ordering resin upgrades. I don't think they ordered upgrades. Maybe they did, I wasn't a dinosaur. So, yeah, don't expect museum level accuracy here, but stick with me because by the end, it actually turns out to be a pretty charming little build. And yes, one more time for the people in the back. The Carro Armato. Now, with that kit, my trusty Tamiya Extra Thin worked just fine. But on this older beast, nope. The glue just looked at the parts and said, yeah, good luck with that, buddy. It reminded me of when I was a dinosaur building models. I used that classic Tester's tube glue. You know, the one came out in giant sticky blobs, smelled like instant regret. I even found a newer version in that black plastic applicator thingy. Though, let's be honest, it's probably as old as the Jurassic period itself. Anyway, that's what I ended up using, and somehow it worked. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not a fan of that thicker glue. Well, I was when I was a kid. No, I didn't sniff it. It's like trying to model with maple syrup, but it does have its uses, like welding the hull and the top together so they don't explode in my hands later. Sure, it's messy, but I've got a plan for this kit. I'll explain more about that later in this video. Oh, that was a big one. I gotta leave it in. For now, let's just say a few glue smudges won't matter, as long as I don't go full glue bomb and recreate the sticky nightmares of my childhood builds. Childhood builds. Oh, and there's a thunderstorm, so watch out. Oh, I wish I still had any of mine, but nope, they all went the way of that famous bird, the dodo, or the doo-doo. Extinct. If you're new to modeling and still young, do yourself a favor, hang on to those first clumsy glue-covered disasters. One day, when you're our age and making strange sound effects every time you get up off the floor, you'll appreciate looking back at them. Think of it as fossil evidence of your modeling evolution. Apparently we're going the way of the dinosaur on this video. At least that's better than the last video that had like all kinds of wars and bombs and all kinds of things going off. Alright, back on point. I wouldn't recommend this one as your very first Tamiya kit. Sure, it goes together without too much drama, but it's also packed with that flash and seam lines like a bargain bin special. Honestly, you're better off grabbing a newer release. Although, at today's prices, you might need to convince your friends to pull off a bank job just to afford it. And for the record, no, I'm not actually suggesting you rob a bank for your modeling needs. That concludes today's PCA Plastic Modelers Community announcement. Okay, back to the build. Model prices. Yeah, I know, you know, we all know. They've gone way up. But to be fair, you usually get a lot more in the box these days than you did with the older kits. Speaking of prices, I've been wanting to dabble with 1/16 scale here on the channel. Now, for me, that might require an actual bank heist. Oh, wait, PCA, no heist. I'll just start saving my pennies. I've never built one before, and I keep wondering what painting and weathering a beast that size would be like. I'll definitely need a bigger dauber. Ever tackled one yourself? Let me know in the comments. If you've made it this far, congratulations. You've reached the thrilling climax of today's video. I'm actually going to build this kit on camera. Well, I'm not going to go through step 1 through 9, parts 1 through whatever. Yeah, I don't usually do this, but some of you asked for longer videos, so here we are. Also, I'm sick at the moment if you can't tell, which means my Panzer IV-F is on hold because I didn't feel like firing up the airbrush and coughing paint clouds everywhere. So let me know, do you like seeing this kind of build footage? Or should I stick to my usual rambling nonsense? This whole video's been a ramble. For this build, I'm going full winter theme. Panzer Gray with a nice whitewash and a whole lot of mud. After all, this little guy would have been slogging through Russia early in the war, so why not make him look appropriately miserable? I'll even attempt to use the dauber, yes the dauber, for some of the mud application. If it goes badly, well, let's just call it a creative weathering. I recently grabbed a whole pile of ammo products to help with this build. The plan? Hairspray technique first, and then a washable white coat, and finally, smother everything in mud. And yes, I'll even throw in some dry mud on top of that for some good measure. I really want to get these techniques down so I can bring them to my winter tiger build. I've got 2 by Tockham, and the first one is going to be absolutely epic. Definitely gotta rob a bank for that one. No robbing of banks, okay? I've got some very unique ideas lined up for that one. Though, at this rate, I might need to order another 100 daubers just to be safe. I'm really selling those daubers, but they're really that good. Check out this video if you don't believe me. There are a few things I still need to order from Australia, yes, Australia, for that tiger. Plus some goodies from Mini Art, and yes, I'll need LEDs too, and I've never used those before. Okay, I might as well spill the beans. The beans have been spilled. I'm planning on building a video soon where I show all of these plans in details. The idea? A Tiger 1 being restored in a garage looking completely rusted and battered after sitting around for 80 plus years. I don't know about you, but I think that's going to be a cool video to bring to life. The kit is going together pretty well, overall, just a few spots where the extra thin glue refused to hold, so I switched back to that testy sticker, Tester's glue, you get the point. I even did a little research on weld seams, and then promptly gave up because, let's be honest, I'm going to completely smother, got it right this time, this little car in mud anyway. Accuracy be damned, and this thing is going to be gloriously filthy. All of these parts and plenty of others fell apart at some point, and off camera I went full surgeon mode and fixed them. Not sure if it's the older plastic or if it's my glue is plotting against me. Oh, and speaking of disasters, I tried that trick I saw in a video to extend my brush, and of course it fell off inside. Yeah, not ideal. I'm thinking a small tube at the end would work better, but for now I'll just buy another bottle and pretend this never happened. Let's ramble about model stashes. The infamous wall of shame. I wish I had a proper one, but for now it's mostly just my 2 Tockham Tigers and a Stug. Beyond that, I've got a Tamiya Jeep and a few unfinished builds that may or may not ever see the light of day. What's in your stash of shame? Don't worry, I won't judge much. I'm not rich enough to buy me everything at once, and I have no plans for a Patreon right now. When or if I ever start one, I want it to be something worthwhile where you actually get something from it. For now, I'm just collecting pennies and slowly building my very own stash of shame. She's coming along nicely, and the lower half is just about finished. Honestly, this kit could be built in a day and painted and weathered maybe 2. But that's only if you ignore all the cleanup. It's a simple kit and easy to assemble. It's just that little thing called flash and seams that drags it off the fast track list. And yes, there were a few moments while building when I looked at it and said, why did I buy this kit? Classic modeling self-doubt. Did you ever have that? Do you have a kit that you bought and you're building it and you just hate building it and it goes back in the box? I do have one, and it's the horse-drawn German supply wagon. I even have some videos up and you can check it out. As for the painting, the figure, and the horse, well, I'm not gonna lie, I'm dreading it, but it needs to get done. I think I'll save that one and a few others for the winter, like a squirrel who's collected all his nuts and is now snug and ready for the cold. I'll be hibernating with my kits until the mood strikes. I was originally going to leave the 2 halves unglued, but I managed to fit the gun in after gluing. So plans changed. I'll just spray the inside black and paint the gun separately. Honestly, there's not much detail inside anyway, and the top's going to be closed. Model cheating at its absolute finest. Get those sides on, come on. I'll admit it, sometimes I get a little lazy while building. Like, who's actually going to see under the tank? Will anyone notice that tiny detail missing? I'm trying to get better these days, taking my time and actually making a model I can be proud of. But lately, oh boy, my airbrush has been giving me a run for my money. I think it's time for the Airbrush 101 all over again. After using that Neo Air for so long, I finally went back to a proper compressor, and now this old dog has to learn some new tricks all over again. Now, there is a lot of moisture in our house, and I guess using the compressor for prolonged amounts of time, I start to get water, but oh boy, so much water. And I'm like, oh my god, so I had to stop, and an hour session of airbrushing would take 4 hours. It was getting really annoying. But what I did is I added a second moisture trap at the airbrush, and you know what? It worked. And I painted the Panzer IV-F beautifully. This part replaces the plastic kit bits, which you could use, but if you're like me and fear the photo etch, you'll want to add some mesh. Don't worry though, it went on really smoothly. And if I can do it, so can you. Seriously, don't be afraid of the PE. It's not nearly as scary as it looks, although sometimes it is, and sometimes it's really, really hard. But you can do it. Alright, looky here. Here we are. She is all done. Now, like I said, the only 2 parts you're going to get as new is that photo etch top and the metal gun barrel. Nice additions for sure, and there is a lot of seams and there is a lot of flash on this kit. It is an older kit after all, but as you can see, it's going to build up nice, and it's going to look really cool with the white winter wash and all the mud, and it's going to be great and a lot of fun to do. So be sure to check out that video and subscribe if you haven't already to check it out. Alright, I want to thank you all for watching. Thank you for all the nice comments lately, and thank you for subscribing and supporting the channel. I will see you in the next video.